Chapter 13. Brooding on the past, Jagan must have dozed off at the foot of the statue. Now, thinking about the past, brooding means kind of thinking, reminiscing uh, on the past. Jagan have dozed off means Jagan have almost have fallen asleep at the foot of the statue. He was awakened by the clamor of birds alighting. So he was awakened in the morning by the clamor means the sound, the commotion made by the alighting means come to rest, settle, or kind of they are perching, right, in the morning, settle downing or just like coming to rest and all this noise in the morning. On the head of the Sir Frederick Lowley, so the birds are just coming and settling and perching on the head of the statue. So they are making some noise, and that was the reason why Jagan was awakened from his dream, like awakened from his sleep. Right? Almost he was sleeping, dozing off. Jagan bestirred himself and looked at his house. Bestirred means roused, became active, right? Just woke up, kind of. And Jagan bestirred himself and looked at his house, now touched by the morning light, its heavy cornices emerging into view. Now the morning has approached, so he see his house from the lowly statue. The heavy cornices, write down if you don't know what is a cornice. Ornamental, yes, kind of molding around the wall of a room just below. Yes, so that's kind of a cornices, right? Uh, the shapes, in other words, in simple English, like shapes coming into view of the house. A little brighter now than at night, he said to himself, but it has an unhappy look. It will never get back the light and laughter of other days. Jagan is kind of thinking about his own house in this attitude, right? So it says like little brighter than right, little brighter now than at night. So it's much better than in the night because there was no even not a single light even right at the night. Uh, and but it has an unhappy look. The house doesn't look happy anymore, and it will never get back the light and laughter of other days. I mean, like in old days, as it used to emanate the radiance. It's no longer emanating any radiance, uh, any happiness, any joviality, in other words, right? Who's there to brighten it? Right? Who's there in this house just to brighten this house? Kind of make it shine, rise and shine. There's no one to make it rise and shine, right? Brightening it. Not my son. No, he's so cold. My son is not going to make it happy, make it look radiant. No, he's so cold. You get the idea, right? There's a hyphen there. He doesn't know how to call this Grace anymore. Is it? It's not definitely daughter-in-law. It's not married, right? And he's so cold. What do we call her? Really? Like how to address her? Really? It's not their daughter-in-law. They are not married. Is it a stranger? What's the relationship? What name shall I give her? Anyway, there you go. Where are they? Where are these people now? Never tell me. They are both alike. I don't know where are they. Like they go whenever they please. They just leave the house. Who is where? Who knows what's going on? It's like for Jagan, it's like he has no idea how they both are behaving. Right? They are both alike. Grace is the same. Mal is the same. They are not sought to make a home bright, unlike my mother or even Ambika when she was well. Like, these are not family-oriented people. In their time, in Jagan's time, mother was dedicated to the house. Mother kept things on a constant move. So was Ambika when she was alive. Right? That's what Jagan thinks. Unlike my mother, or even Ambika, right? They are kind of very dedicated housewives. On the contrary, they are blackened their surroundings. Probably they will be happier without me there. I like on the opposite of my mother and Ambika, these people, the new generation, has blackened the surroundings. Means they have kind of darkened. They are, in other words, it's like there's a certain gloom. There's a certain kind of a dark energy associated with them, right? Kind of a negativity, kind of a pessimism around them. That may be the idea. It's like underlying idea on the words like they blacken their surroundings. Kind of a negativity is emanating is radiant. Other than this positivity, this good vibes when Ambika and Jagan's mother were inhabiting this house. Jagan felt it would be impossible for him to get back to the house. Jagan even didn't feel like going to the house. Impossible for him to get back to that house. It's tainted. But it's not my house that's tainted. There you go. Jagan says, this house is tainted. It's like, it's kind of polluted. It's kind of rotten. Rotten is kind of like touched by rot or decay is called tainted, right? Uh, and again he says, but it's not my house that's tainted. No, it's not my house. But now these are really bewildering thoughts. He feel like his house is tainted, and he feel like his house is not tainted. I mean, like the idea here is like, okay, uh, even it's my house, I don't feel like it's my house anymore. That's the underlying idea here, right? Because it's polluted. But anyway, it's not my house that's tainted. It is his. I am not tainted. It's small. It's your problem, right? Who am I to grumble and fret? Why should I? Why should I grumble? Why should I complain? And fret means be sorrowful, thinking about these matters over and over again, and just put myself into such uncomfort or such a discomfort, right? I'm 60. There you go. Now he's 60. I'm 60, and I may live for only 10 or 15 years more. That's my lifespan. Maybe probably another 10 years more, or 20, right? 10 or 15 years more. Where is Mali? With or without his story machine, we'll have to go on for 60 or more years in that house. Jagan thinks, alright, my time is over. Maybe another maximum 10, 15 years. That's it. I'll be gone. But Mal is young. Anyway, even he has come up with this story writing machine, whether it's a success or unsuccessful, anyway, it doesn't matter. This guy has to go on till he is somewhere around 60 in that house. Maybe he's blessed. May he be blessed with longevity. Father wishes, right? Long live Mali. As a father, he's always may have warm feelings about his son. He loves his son. For sure he loves his son. But in a kind of different way. So he wishes like, long live Mali. Jagan reveled for a moment in visions of Mali at 80. Revel means delighted, enjoyed, right? So for Jagan, the visual imagery, kind of a dream, a reverie, dream-like thought came to him. And he imagined Mali somewhere around 8 years old, Mali at 80. And that profoundly moved his heart, that visual, that thought of imagining Mali at his 80s profoundly moved means gave some emotional shock, kind of emotional. His thoughts were kind of agitated here, right? It's like a heartwarming feeling. His heart moved his heart, but the immediate thoughts were again some thought accompanied Jagan. The immediate thought was next thought was, where will Grace be when Mal is 80? Still in the same situation? Now, okay, when Mal is 80, where will Grace be? We, I mean, like in the same situation means will be she like in that situation when Mal is 80, will Grace still not marry Mali at 80, right? Or like other ramifications just come to his head, right? Uh, but the immediate thought was where will Grace be when Mal is 80, still in the same situation? Perhaps Mali would succeed in sending her back. Yeah. Maybe Mali will be successful in sending back Grace to America. It was the best possible solution. If they still spurned his suggestion for a quick solemnization in the Sea Hills, I mean, like, yes, that's the only acceptable thing left now. If Mali doesn't want to marry this girl, father suggested he'll help to arrange a marriage. But if doesn't like if Mali rejects this idea, spurned, rebuffed, refused this idea of a quick solemnization means here can be considered as a wedding, right? Just like solemnization means the wedding between them. If they rejected the wedding, yeah, what else to do other than sending Grace back to America? That's the best thing. He felt hurt at the recollection as if a needle had probed a wound. I have probably outlived my purpose in this house. Thinking about these things, these thoughts were kind of a needle probing a wound. Means imagining a needle probing means making anew or just doing some pricking here can be probed. Probes are actually the English meaning would be a kind of searching is the idea of probing or just looking into. So when in this context it would be like a needle had probed a wound means a needle had injured or needle had pricked on a wound as if to search. Thoughts are such hurtful. It's not a comfortable feeling, right? When a needle is probing a wound. I have probably outlived my purpose in this house means my aim in life is almost achieved. Oh, I mean like there's nothing else to be accomplished in this house anymore. There's no purpose, right? In this house. My purpose is outlived. In others, I'm done. I'm done in this house. If I live for 10 or 15 years more, it will have to be in a different plane. If I'm 60 now, if I'm going to stay more years more, 10 or 15, I don't want to follow the same life, same routine. It should be in a different plane. It should be in a different dimension. At 60, one is reborn and enters a new Janma. According to Hindu belief, yes, at 60, a person gets a new life. It's a new stage in life. 60. You're kind of mature, right? It's like a new Janma. You get a new Atma. You get a new life, a new lease of life. Even in our ages, right, in our culture, when it comes to this age, right, people say, ඉතින් බණක් භාවනාවක් කරගෙන පිනක් දහමක් කරගෙන එලවට යමක් රැස් කරගෙන ඉන්න ඕන කාලේ, right? Kind of a different context, but still they think it's like after 60. It's a new life. That was the reason why people celebrated their 60th birthdays. That's according to Jagan is one reason people are celebrating their 60th birthdays. It's a new milestone in their life. He remembered his father and mother, his uncle and aunt, and a score of other couples celebrated a man's 60th year like a wedding with pipes, drums, and feasting. In old days, he could remember, right? His mother, father, uncle, relatives, a score of other couples, other people as well, many other people celebrated this event. Right? So, a new birth is celebrated as well as the 60th birthday is celebrated because they consider it's a very important milestone in a person's life. Uh, so it's a big occasion for them. People love to celebrate one thing or another all the time. I mean, like, what? How do they celebrate? Not the ordinary way, with wedding pipes, drums, eating, feasting, banquets, right? And anyway, people love to celebrate one thing or another all the time. People love to celebrate. People love to enjoy. That's why people are celebrating birthday parties, right? Because they want to enjoy. They want to get together, right? So nothing is wrong in enjoying, by the way. Uh, he had his fill of them and had nothing to complain of Mali. Uh, I mean, like, yes, he had his fill of them and had nothing to complain of. Yes, I mean, like, Jagan has enjoyed these things, and Jagan is not against celebrating as well. People enjoy, there's no problem in it, right? For Jagan, it's good thing. Mali had proved out that there was no need for ceremonials, not even the business of knotting the thali around the bride's neck. Now, when it comes to Mali's life, it's amazing. Uh, it's amazing in contrast to Jagan's belief systems, right? For Mali has kind of proved that, established that there was no need for ceremonials. There's no need for any kind of celebration at all in one's life. I mean, like, what's the biggest celebration a man can make in his life is his wedding day, right? It's the most important day in his life. But when it comes to Mali, right, had proved that there was no need of ceremonials, not even the business of knotting the thali around the bride's neck. He's not concerned about those things, according to Jagan. Even he doesn't want to go to this temple and just, tie a thali, or just like knot a thali around his wife's or Grace's neck. He's not into those things. Noting, right, this is something very important, right? Right. Anyway, nothing, no bonds or links or responsibility. There you go. It's some kind of a noteworthy position here. There's nothing for Mali. It's like no bonds, no links, no responsibility. Mali is a kind of a, in his own way, it's a very person without any anchoring points. Like, he's not anchored in the Indian culture. He's not anchored in the traditional life, traditional customs, conventions. He's kind of rejecting all these things, right, in his own way. So that may be what's upsetting the father mostly. Nothing, no bonds, no links, no responsibility. I mean, like, all right, forget they didn't have this wedding. They were living together. All right, that's fine. But still, there was not this. The bond is not there, right? When Grace feels like she's not comfortable living at home, she goes somewhere else. And Mal is not bothered about it. Those are the most unacceptable things in the father's eyes. Whoever kicked harder got away first. Right, okay, now there's a line here. Come together, live together, and kick away each other when it suited them. Yeah. There's no responsibility in this life, right? Come together, live together, and kick away each other when it suited them. Whoever kicked harder got away first. Kick. So that's how father's ultimate verdict on these kind of lifestyles, right? How light, how irresponsible that there are no bonds, there's no tightening, there's no connection, there's no synergy in between this couple. Come together, like, live together, kick away each other when it suited them. Like, how light it is, like, how easy to stay together, how easy to do. Easy just to break away. It's that simple. In other words, that's the reason they are having these celebrations and everything in weddings, right? Just to make it hard to separate. I told you, I explained you. The reason behind this nuptial ceremonies is, or the celebration is, when relatives get together, celebrate for some time, and the idea is like, so there's a social pressure on them just to stick together for a lifetime. So maybe that's the underlying uh, unconscious reasons behind these celebrations, uh, kind of crystallizing it. But here you don't find that crystallization when it comes to easy living, right? Come together, live together, and kick off when they suited them. Whoever kicked harder got away first. Like whoever just started to kick fast, whoever rejected firmly, just like got away first, right? Kick. Where was the kick? Now it's a pun here. Kick. Where was the kick? They sat in the green car with their legs intertwined in spite of what they had said to each other. Kick. Where is the kick? The idea here may be, okay, when it comes to kick, what you get this physical activity. That's the first imagery. You just kick, like in a case of in a game, right? You kick the ball, or in a match, in a boxing match, you kick the opponent, right? Oh, yeah. That's the idea. So it means like the physical activity, but there's another meaning for this kick, which can be the pleasure one gets out of it. Right? I get a kick out of watching, we'll say, vicarious sports. Means I get a happiness. I get a kind of enthralled. I'm enthralled. I'm getting kind of enjoyment out of it. So he's asking another way, where's the kick? Where's the kick in this kind of behavior? Right? What is the kick in this kind of behavior, light behavior? What is there in this, right? What's the enjoyment? Where was the kick? They sat in the green car. Now he's again contemplating. Jagan can remember. You remember, right? The green car stopped while Jagan was going to stop and asked, Father, do you want a lift? But you know how they were closed, how they were kind of intertwined, entangled with each other, just like creepers, right? And Alila, Galila, Karge, Velila, that kara. It's like, after all, they are fighting, becoming absent for a while, and Mali wants the woman to go to America. The woman says something else, and in the car they are all good together suddenly. Very confusing for a father. Intertwined in spite of what they had said to each other. Puzzling over things was innovating. Puzzling over things means these things, just thinking about these things, these complicated issues, this kind of perplexing stuff is innovating. Write down, underline innovating if you don't know what is innovating means. Weaken the mentality of morality is innovating. Kind of disturbing, unnerving, unsettling. Weaken the mentality is innovating. Right? So, thinking over these things just makes Jagan's head very unsettled, nervous. He can't he can't handle this thing. It's a big pill for him to digest. In other words, reading a sense into Mari's actions was fatiguing, like an attempt to spell out a message in a half familiar script. Reading a sense into Mari's actions, try to understand Mari, try to nail down or pin down the behavior of Mali is a fatiguing, it's exhausting, it's a tiresome. Fatigue means tiring. You get tired in the end. It's a fatiguing like attempt to spell out a message in a half familiar script. I mean, like, imagine you are try to read some Greek written in English. Imagine there's some Chinese written in English. You have to read it loud. definitely you'll falter, you'll stammer, right? You'll trip on these words because they are such a tongue twisters. It's very hard to pronounce those words. In the same way, sometimes a script means a writing that is very hard to decode or decipher. You feel tired after reading a while, right? My God, what kind of rubbish is this? How hard is it to comprehend? You give up. You become fatigued. Right? Same way, trying to understand Mali is such a confusing, such a bewildering act itself, right? He had no need to learn anything more. No more unraveling of conundrums, just as there was not going to be any more feast or music that shuttered house before him. I mean, like, now this is what Jagan feels. No more unraveling of conundrums, just as there was not going to be any more feast or music in that shuttered house before him. Like, there's nothing to understand. Every puzzle is solved for him. Like, he know now what's going on between Sun and Grace. He doesn't need to understand anymore. He's enough of it, right? Enough is enough. And he know, like, there will be no celebrations. I mean, like, he's sure now. Jagan is quite sure. A marriage between these two is very unlikely. So there will be no celebrations, and that house will be gloomy or sad forever in Jagan's mind. Uh, when his 60th birthday came, it was passed unnoticed. Like, now his 60th birthday has approached him. Time has passed, but there was no notice. No one noticed he was 60. A widower had no right to celebrate anything. Jagan is uh, kind of, uh, he has self pity on himself. That's the feeling here. A widower, a man who has lost his wife, has nothing to be happy in his life. There's nothing to celebrate. He was fit only for retirement. What a magic world. Now, that's the only thing left for him at 60, just to retire from the world. It's just like he's planning something. We don't know it for sure. We'll find out later. What a magic world. How things change, right? As if one had to shake off things, one did it unmistakably, completely, without leaving any loophole or a path back. If one had to shake off things, if one has to change things, shake off things, if one has to make a new beginning, one did it unmistakably, completely, without leaving any loophole or path back. In other words, yes. Jagan's thoughts are now a little bit. He wants a change. He's tired of himself. He's tired of his family relations. And he wants. He's reminiscing on the moment, right? He wants to shake off things. And he wants to do it in a particular style and not regret it, not look back to it, look back. Oh, all right. If he's going to make a decision, he has to get his feet firm on his decision, and once it's made, there should not be any loopholes, any kind of mistakes, or just regrets to look back. That's the idea here, basically. He still had to pay his visit to his house anyway. Even the house is tainted, he was reluctant to go to the house. He has to go to the house to collect a few things he needed, though he would prefer to walk off, just walk. Jagan wished like not even going to the house. He preferred to just walk away. Well, like, just go somewhere he wished to go without even going to the house. But he couldn't do that because there were some things he wanted to collect from that house. So it seems like Jagan is awaking just to a new life suddenly. He woke up when the birds were chirping and settling. under the Lodi statue. And he's compelled to kind of new action. He's compelled to follow a new route now suddenly. It's kind of a sudden transformation, kind of transcendental situation here. We find out. Just walk. He won't walk. Just walk. Simply not going to the home, walk away. As Buddha did when he got enlightenment, as Siddhartha, he just left away. He left all the luxuries in search of a painful truth, which was that most important thing in his life, just to find this enlightenment. He made a decision, just leaving the house, leaving the loved ones, all behind. Just like that, Jay can wish if we can like, break from all these into a kind of freedom, into kind of a new light, new knowledge. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. His usual hour for the bath for a half century. Like every day morning, it seems Jagan is having this bath somewhere around 5 o'clock. It's a healthy thing if you can get a bath somewhere around 5 o'clock, right? An hour later, after his morning ablutions are cleanings, this washing, right? Ablutions. An hour later, after his morning ablutions and nourishment, he came out of his house carrying a little bundle. He has gone to the house and spent like hour there, have had a good bath, right? Ablutions, cleaning, and had his food. Nourishment means had his food, and came out of the house carrying a little bundle in which, among other things, were included is this spinning wheel, right? Charka, the spinning wheel. He has picked the spinning wheel, and there are some bundles. What else? It's a duty I owe to Mahatma Gandhi. So he has not forgotten that. He thinks like it's a duty, it's obligation that I owe to Mahatma Gandhi. It's a habit. It's his pleasure activity as well, right? It's his kind of a hobby. It's a duty I owe to Mahatma Gandhi. I made a vow before him that I would spin every day of my life. I have to do it whether I am at home or in a forest. Oh, so Jagan thinks like even I am at home or in a forest. So where is Jagan going now? We'll see. He thinks like he owes Mahatma Gandhi to continue this habit, to continue this weaving on this spinning wheel. So he has picked it up. It seems like Jagan is leaving the house, right? He's thinking about at home or forest. We'll find out. The sunlight, the cold bath, and the gruel he had made, gruel he had mitigated somewhat the ardor of the renunciation. Right, when the sunlight, now it's morning, the morning is approaching, the cold bath in the morning, and the gruel means, the porridge, the thin porridge, the kind of a, this food, right? Gruel. He had mitigated somewhat, means abated, reduced somewhat the ardor, means of this ardor means this passion, this great feeling of warmth and intensity of his renunciation. I mean, like, see, he stood up suddenly with the fancy thought of like, okay, I'm going to make a decision today. And he didn't want even to go to the house. He wanted to go back somewhere. ඔළුව හැරුණුවත් ඒ යන්න තමයි හිතුනේ. ඒත් එයා ගෙදර ගියා. Now had his nourishment, right? Had his gruel, had his bath. The feeling has mitigated. I mean, this feeling of just going away has kind of, that intensity was reduced, right? The renunciation is giving up this ardor of passion of renunciation has fallen a little bit. Uh, he still had the key in his hand. The house key was in his hand. Must leave it. Must leave it somewhere. He thought, with someone. I can't take it with me. Now Jagan thinks like, all right, he's planning a renunciation now. That's for clear. That's for sure. Right? That's clear here. I mean, renunciation is giving up, and he doesn't want to take the house key with him. He want to give it to someone or just place it somewhere. What happens if you take the key? Again, the order will be further mitigated, right? If you have these possessions, hints of possessions, you always have this huge attachment towards your house. Even you try to be away from the house for a while, again you get these feelings just to go back, just follow your past life, follow your same old routines. There's a life that if you are just accustomed to, it's very hard just to break that accustomed life, the day-to-day routines which you are used to, which you are institutionalized for a while. It's very hard to break from it. To break from it, you have to have an iron will. In case of like something like Siddhartha. Siddhartha had the purpose. The purpose is a strong one. It's not something based on, like kind of obligations or encumbrances from his surroundings. He was a prince. Even he was married, he had a child. That's a different thing. But he made a decision, right? And he stuck to it. But Jagan is struggling with it. He also want to make a decision here. He want to walk away. But still, as a lay person, as just ordinary person, he's struggling with it. There are different forces, right? That's how psychology works. Always when you have, right, there's a part in you, there are two parts basically in you. Forget Jagan for a while. We talk about these things. It's important just to understand this context. Some part of you is very determined. If you are here, you are very determined, right? Just to study, just to get good grades, just to be accomplished, to achieve a target. There's a push inside, there's a force inside. At the same time, unfortunately, there's another force inside you, pulls the other way around. Says like, okay, you have time, just enjoy the moment, right? Just delay these things, procrastinate these things, and say something else, right? Okay, what's the purpose of it after all? Like, what's the use of all this in the end? This kind of negativity is there, as well as a positivity is there. Always there's a fight between, right? These two forces. One try to overwhelm each other. The negativity is trying to swallow the positivity inside you. The positivity is trying to swallow the negativity inside you. In the same way, right? In a way, Jagan wants to give up, but he's struggling. He's struggling. Like he has certain things he can't leave behind. That's why in the first place he went to the house. Right? And now when he came out of the house, he's bringing certain things with him. See, even he want to renounce, the ties are still there. Right? The house keys is such a symbol here. He can't give up the house. So he brought the key. But he feels guilty like he can't take it further. So he's thinking about these things, right? No, after all, it is the back door key. Yeah, I can't take it with me, thinks Jagan. One part says, yeah, you can't take the key if you are renouncing things. Just leave the key. Other part asks, but why not? After all, it is the back door key. Yeah, it's not the front door key, it's the back door key. So what's wrong with taking it? His own mind asking these questions. His own mind is arguing with him. The main key must be with Mali. He never opens the door again. If he never opens the door again, well, it's his business. Now, the main entrance door key was with Mali. But if Mali doesn't want to open that house again, it's not my problem. It's not my issue, thinks Jagan. If he never opens the door again, well, it's his business. It's his house that's going to become haunted with evil spirits, which might throw which might throw things about with a clatter. If Mali will not come to this house for some reason, again Mali is not there in this house. He has left somewhere. Grace is gone somewhere else, right? And then Jagan slept under the holy statue, and the house is still there with nobody to attend. And Jagan thinks, okay, Mali has the front key. All right. If Mali doesn't come to the house, right, that's his problem, not my problem. He has the key. If Mali doesn't come, if no persons inhabit the house, well, ghosts will someday, evil spirits will someday inhabit this house and just put it into kind of disorder, haunted with evil spirits, which might throw things about with a clatter. Thinks Jagan. Jagan did not fully believe in it, but he knew instances of deserted houses where such thing happened. I mean, like, it's a silly thing just to believe that when people are not there, kind of evil spirits comes and inhabits this house is a kind of a age-old, kind of obsolete thought, right? If there are any scientific background to such thoughts, if someone inquires that kind of a rational thought, there's nothing to support such ideas. Those are inane, stupid ideas. But anyway, Jagan didn't want to believe it, but he had heard. Even you have heard certain things, right? When houses are just abandoned, evil spirits come and reside on those houses. As a matter of fact, you have one of your poems, right? The Two's Company in the anthology is about such a haunted house, right? House gets haunted when people mostly leave that houses. When people are not accompanying those houses. Right? Yeah, that's what Jagan thinks. After all, evil spirits too needed accommodation somewhere. There you go. And even those evil spirits has to stay somewhere, right? They can be evil, they can be spirits, they can be ghosts, but they also have to have accommodation. So they gather into these abandoned houses. Maybe they are talking, right? Evil spirits meet each other. I don't know, right? Hey, there's a house in that corner, there's no people out there. Let's go there and just settle down, right? එයාලටත් යන්න එන්න තැනක් නැහැ. දැන් මේ ඇති පාරවල් වල බස් ස්ටෑන්ඩ් වල නේ ලයිට් කණු යට ඇති වේලි ඒ ඉන්න තැනක් නැහැ අපිට. This evil spirits ghosts එක එක කොයිද බං ඉන්නේ ඉන්න තැනක් නැහැ. එයාන් හතන තියෙනවා අර ගෙදර කවුරුවත් නැහැ. අපි සෙට් වෙමුද ඒ? ඉතින් යනවා ඉතින් සෙට් එකම ගිහලා එතන පදිංචි වෙනවා කියලා. ෂෝක් තැන මරු උණු හැටියට මලාමද කිව්වා වගේ. It's like maybe that's the thing, right? Who knows? After all evil spirits do need accommodation somewhere. He chuckled at the thought of inquiring inquisitive neighbor. He chuckled means he laughed. Jagan has a kind of a wicked laugh, right? Chuckled. Just laugh at the thought of his inquiring inquisitive neighbor. He's wondering like how would be the response of the neighbor, that inquisitive, curious neighbor. Let him ask all the questions he likes of the ghost storming my house. Now Jagan is happy. Jagan felt like a kind of sinister happiness, right? Now there are no people to accompany the neighbor, but he has some ghosts in the house, right? And now he still felt bothered about the key. Now, this key is the issue. Even he has the back door key, he's like thinking, should I take this key with me or shouldn't I take this key with me? If I take this key with me, I will be having cravings, like I will having longings just to come back. So I have access. It's easy for me. ගිහිල්ලා බණක් බානක් කරගෙන ඉන්නකොට කම්මැලි හිතුනොත් නිකන් බෑ බෑ කියලා හිතුනොත් ටක් ගාලා කීයක් ගත්ත ගෙදර ආව කරයි. It's like so, there's a automatic hindrance here, right? It's a kind of a barrier here. He won't, that's bother him. This connection between his resolution and his current state of affairs, right? So he want to make a firm decision now. He still felt bothered about the key. Why can't I leave it with my brother? He thought of just going to brother and just leaving the key. It will be a good excuse to visit him. He want to kind of renew his relationship with brother, it seems, right? It will be a good excuse to visit him. He toyed with the idea. He thought with the idea for a while. Was it a good idea just to give this key to the brother? But again, he has to tell the whole story, right? Again, there's the issue. Engage Gafur's taxi, run to Vinayak Street and leave the house key with his brother. He wanted to hire Gafur's taxi, the fastest transportation, and give the key to brother at the Vinayak Street. And leave the house key with his brother. Years ago, when he was chosen to take part in the national struggle, he took elaborate leave of everyone before volunteering for arrest. Like before he was leaving to this national struggle, where he was taking part in this Gandhiji's fractions, right? He, the same way he said goodbye, in a kind of a much more celebrative tone, celebrative mode, Jagan said goodbye to his brother and his family members in much more ceremonial way, right? And before volunteering for the arrest, voluntary arrest, right? Volunteering for arrest means just kind of a, we call it like a recruitment drive. And Indians have this way of adding adjectives, right? For us, it's just like a recruitment. Recruitment is just a recruitment. People just is enlisted. Indians have this adjective for it. It's called a recruitment drive. Same way, volunteering for arrests means a kind of volunteering arrest. It's a kind of a engaging in it, right? How his brother had tears in his eyes. He could remember when he was leaving house, how brother was almost tearing, right, in his eyes. The entire family were moved by his self-abnegation. Everyone loved him, like everyone was moved, everyone was agitated. Why Jagan is going to this battle? Why is Jagan taking part in this national struggle? Right. Self-abnegation, write down. A denial and rejection of a doctrine or belief. A renunciation. Right. It's like self-abnegation. He's giving up his studies. He's giving up his studies and just trying to take part in this national struggle. Luckily before the marriage. Right. And everyone was shocked. Everyone was surprised about Jagan's decision. ඒක ජේගන්ගේ පවුලේ ඉතාම මේ සංවේදී මොහොතක්. කාටවත් හිතා ගන්න බෑ ජේගන් මේ වගේ පරිත්‍යාගයක් කරන්න. In other words, it's like he's approached such an important decision in his life again at this certain moment. He's going to give up. The second time. Second biggest decision in his life. Right? It's a radical decision, right? Self-abnegation accompanied him in a body halfway down the street, although they disapproved generally of his patriotic acts. I mean, like when Jagan left the house, most of the family members, right? The entire family was moved and accompanied him a body halfway down the street. When Jagan is going out to join this, his family also followed him a little bit, right to the halfway of the down the street. Jagan එක ගෙදර කට්ටියත් පාරේ භාගයක් වෙනකන් ඇවිද්දා. Because it's like such a sentimental time for them, right? It's a very risky thing. In other words, Jagan could lose his life by the British attacks. It's a fight against the British, anyway, in an non-violent way, but British unleashed a lot of violence, a lot of hatred towards these protesters, right? The people. So, no wonder they are sensitive. And down the street, although they disapproved generally of his patriotic acts, I mean, the family didn't like what Jagan's doing. Disapprove. Even forget this. When one of you know this, right? When a child is enlisting to army, would their parents like it? මේ වීරකම් වෙනයි ජාත්‍යාලය වෙනයි ඒ වුණාට ගෙදර ඉන්න කොල්ල හමුදාවට බැඳනකොට අම්මා කැමතිද? තාත්තා කැමතිද? ඔක්කොම කඳුළු පුරවගෙන ඉන්නේ. Right? Same way. Same way here in a different context. Right? So they were working Jagan generally. So it was such a event, such an important event in Jagan's life. Right? He cited for those warm and crowded days and longed for a similar send off now. Jagan wished those days such a welcome was there from his family. Even they disliked that, he was appreciated in a way. And those were welcomed like in the warm and crowded days, means a lot of members were there in his house. Now there's no members in his house just to give him a kind of ovation or give him a kind of a compliment. And he longed for a similar send off now. He's wishing, right? Someone would at least say goodbye to him, right? But that's not happening anymore. Now he's very lonely, he's on his own. No one is around. No one recognizes his struggle. And he's 60, after all, he's old man. Societies are very blind-eyed or very neglecting these decisions of the old people, senior people. So many things are on the background. But anyway, Jagan wishes like a kind of warm send-off.